Tamara's grandmother story is a very common one right now. We've been reading about it in the newspapers, we've seen TV feature series on it. I mean, everybody in Ontario knows there's a real problem with long-term care. There are not enough staff, and now people are finding out there's not enough inspection.
This is Shirley Grace Miller. She's my grandmother. Wonderful lady. She was a wonderful lady. We miss her terribly. She loved life, definitely. She loved her family. Probably the last year of her life, where when you went to see her, she would just be sitting in her wheelchair, kind of just sort of staring. She was very withdrawn, and it took a lot of probing to even get her to drink something. You'd actually have to put it in her hand and you know, bring it to her mouth and that kind of thing. So the dementia really had set in. So my mother went down to the hospital and met with the ER doctor there, and we found out that she was very severely dehydrated and had a bladder infection as well, a UTI they call it. When people go to nursing homes, I know eventually folks go there and they're elderly and they are going to pass away eventually. But there's the speed in which that happens that sometimes is upsetting.
The home that Tamara's grandmother was in has not had a detailed inspection since June of 2009. It's these kinds of situations that we have nursing inspectors go look at medical records and actually visit with the residents to make sure that they're getting the care that they're supposed to have, that Ontario is actually paying for in this case. There is definitely a shortage of inspectors to look at Ontario's home. There are 641 homes in Ontario. There are about 60 active inspectors in the field. And so you see situations where people are taking more of a risk, especially if they know that they're not getting inspected. And as a result, we're seeing many examples of abuse and neglect in the homes. I mean, that's why we have 2,800 complaints. And think about it, a lot of people do not want to complain because they're afraid of the environment they have to live in afterwards. I mean, what if I complain about my treatment here? What will it be like next week after I make this complaint?
Basically what they found was that the care plan was not being followed. If someone's got poor intake or poor output, meaning what they're taking in and what they're expelling out in terms of elimination, okay, so it should basically be equal, right? If someone is deficient, they're not taking in what they should, then the doctor should be called. Just what happened, we don't know at this point because it's still under investigation. Nothing's been completed as of yet.
The only way to make change here is to keep on going back to the politicians and say, keep your promises. You keep on telling us that you're going to do something, but what you do adds up to virtually nothing. You're not coming up to the levels that are required in terms of staffing in these homes. You're not coming up to the number of inspections that are really required to hold these homes accountable. And not only that, but you have all these for-profit homes out there, and we know the standards in for-profit homes are not the same as those in the not-for-profit homes. And yet we keep on signing up more for-profit beds in Ontario. Ontario has the highest percentage of for-profit long-term care beds in Canada. Well, we have to look at who's in the homes. It's our parents, our grandparents, and for those of us who get beyond the age of 80, it's going to be 1 in 6 of us is going to be in those homes. What is it going to be like by the time we get there?